welcome to my studio. Welcome to painting this course where I'm currently working on this fragment. It's a project from a larger piece that I'm working on, which is Cyril and Methodius. Just not waste any time for the time being. It's because there is a little cloudy, a little overcast. I don't know how much sunlight I'm going to get till it's going to be difficult to paint. As you might know, I'm working strictly with a natural light when it comes to color and temperature shifts and details. It's just the way how I prefer to work. I haven't been able to find a solution for daylight, proper daylight. I don't know about any artificial light that can get close to it. I know that there are some painters that prefer to work under artificial light because you can control it better and you can work as long as you can and you don't have these shifts with lighter and darker when and clouds are covering the sun, or you don't have this kind of overcast when everything seems a little gloomier. Truth to be told, I love to work under these conditions because they always reveal something new or hidden about the painting. Depends on the light condition that I haven't seen previously. So today I'm going to be working with the background again. For those of you who watched this or watched my previous videos, you know that I had the task was to create the background, the pleasing shape for a background that's going to be kind of a final version when other things are going to sit. So I was talking about the shapes and the composition and how important the shapes are. I talked a little bit about the edges, and I talked about atmospheric perspective and linear perspective as well. So that's something that that's the name of the game. I'm going to continue with the same ideas, and I'm going to repeat them over and over again for the end of the times, I guess. I don't know. It's difficult to say, but as it is right now, this is the way how my brain processes the paintings, how I translate the visual, how I translate what I see to what I paint. So yeah, that's just a quick introduction. That's just a quick introduction for today. Let me go quickly about the materials that I use. And that will be, here's my palette. Very quickly, everything is organized in that color wheel idea with a slight twist with from Impressionist. So I am using, you would never call this limited palette, but in my brain it's still limited palette. The idea is that I take this as a red hue, and I think about it as a red hue. I think about this as a yellow hue, a little bit of orange. This is a blue hue. We're in the purple territory. This is a green. I have titanium white and ivory black. And I am really concerned not about the brand of the paint, but about properties that paint has. I'm sorry. That being said, I am, how would I put this? I am not really particular with my paints. I test all kinds of different brands all the time, depends on what kind of project I'm working on. So that's why I said that I don't really care about the brands that much. But my experience is that the only thing that I try to stay away from, it's student grade paint. If you see the label student grade paint, it's probably cheaper. most of the time is cheaper, but it has some drawbacks, the strongness of the pigment, the enormous amount of fillers. So I would avoid these. I would go directly to a artist, I think that they call it artist grade paint, or artist grades paint. That's, in my own experience, I'm not saying that student grade paint is not okay, but for my purposes, it doesn't really work that good. Right, so that's about the pigments, and then the properties. It's always important whether it's transparent or opaque, and whether it's a lighter or a darker value, or whether it's cooler or warmer. So you can see I have a lighter values, I have a darker values, I have a cooler values, I have a warmer values. So that's something that I'm thinking about. And there are also opaques and transparent. You might look at this and be like, oh, this and this is the same pigment. It is not. This is a cadmium and this is a vermilion. They both have a different properties, and they behave differently when they are mixed with other pigments. So that's that. Brushes, I have a cheap brushes because I abuse them rather a lot. So household brushes, and I buy them in like a bulk. Again, this kind of a what do you call them? Value packages, I guess you would say. So that's about the palette. I also use charcoal, wine charcoal for drawing certain things. I use sandpaper. I use palette knives, different types. I have my medium, which I'm mixing the colors with, and it's very simple. It's a mineral spirits, odorless mineral spirits, and linseed oil. Sometimes I use snail oil, or you might call it also sun thickened linseed oil. So, well, not, you might call it, that's different processes, but the idea is the same. It's a thicker, more like paste kind of a medium rather than just liquid. I have my books ready right here, which is my to-go answers to all my questions and problems and concerns. And I really enjoy to look through these pictures over and over and over again. I know every picture here by heart. Actually, I know the pages because I look through them daily. I have to say daily. I really use this book every day. And it's I'm talking about Rembrandt, of course. You guys know me that Rembrandt is the #1 master for me, for my own work. Whenever I have some questions, then Rembrandt has answer for me. So I use Rembrandt. I use also Caravaggio, Andres Velázquez, Titian. These would be my main helpers. And then I also have a digital medium, so sometimes you can see me touch my tablet where I have digital mediums. I stopped using the photocopies because I use so many different files. I have the anatomy, I have draperies, I have portraits, I have I don't know, the hands, feet. It's just, some of you might just take a little reference, but I don't really go with one reference, and especially with the painting of this size, or with this many figures there and artifacts that they hold. So I need to have a lot of references, and it's easier for me to have it in the digital form. I don't use photographs necessarily, and the reason being, I find them very constrictive. How would I put this? I don't even know what I want to say. I find them First of all, I get easily bored with copying stuff that is in front of me. I really like to invent a lot of stuff. That's why I prefer to work from imagination. It's easier for me because then I'm not bound of some something that I took a picture of or took a photograph. And it gives me a way more freedom. So I use, I don't know, anatomical references. So let's say that I have a bones and a structure for the hands and different position for the fingers or different position for the hands and so on and so forth. So that's when it comes to digital references. Digital reference for me, it's not, oh, stay like this and I'm going to take a picture of you and then I'm just going to copy it. That's just, I'm not saying that it's not a valid method of painting. I know a great artworks that came out of the kind of a specific preparation that when everything is figured out. But for me personally, I get easily bored with just copying that. So I like to have a little bit more fun, a little bit more freedom with my brush. And you will see, like, I really abuse these brushes. I really give them a hard time. I always clean them. I always prepare them. They're always clean. They're stained, but they're clean. But they just really get abused. And I like to do it. There's something that I was taught in the Imperial Academy, where they just really look for the bravura with the brush, that you really have to be able to apply the paint in so many different ways to create the different types of brush strokes. So that's that. Let's get right into it then, so I don't waste any more time with this introduction, because there's nothing new here. I repeat myself over and over again. The important thing, or the most important thing, well, let me rephrase that. Not rephrase it. Let me repeat myself, or let me correct myself. The most important thing for you to do right now is to grab your pencils, art supplies, paints, brushes, whatever, digital medium. If you work digitally, I love to work digitally, whether it's sculpting, digital software that you use, or painting, or any other creative medium that you have, and work alongside me, because I think that's the only way how to enjoy this kind of stream. This is not step by step. I show you how to paint an apple. There is plenty of videos online there that you can just find the step-by-step process. I'm trying to explore, and that's why I call it painting this course. I'm trying to explore every possible option that is there in order to create artwork. I'm not a stickler for paint brushes, for specific canvases that you have to have this canvas. You can paint on the board, you can paint on the canvas, you can paint on the wall, by all means. I don't really care. That's not an issue. The only interesting part about this creative process is to create something that you like to look at. And most of the conversation is going to be philosophical. Answers are practical. I am talking about this in every video with every one of my students all the time. It's probably never going to change. Because we can talk about this, we can argue about the painting, we can argue about the compositions, we can argue about the color temperatures, I don't know, shapes, whatever is there. But then at the end of the day, I have to put it on the canvas. And if you cannot put it on the canvas, then the conversation is, I don't want to say meaningful, but it does not have the full. It hasn't been resolved, and it's always going to be the theoretical kind of a level that it's not really beneficial for the viewer. And what I'm trying to do is to make sure that everybody who is looking at my art, it's receiving some kind of information. Or if it's not receiving information, at least it can compare what that person sees against what he or she thinks. So let's get right into it then. And I said it like 3 times, let's get into it, and I'm still talking, so I should probably shut up. Shut up. Where did I put my... See, I said that I am... Where is, there it is. I'm grabbing my wine charcoal or willow or whatever soft medium that I have. And again, I put some suggestions for heads and for the positions and whatnot. So I have that set. I don't really going to touch that much, but what I want to do, as I mentioned, that in this particular fragment, this is a focal point, this is my secondary, and this is my tertiary. So you know, it's just a movement with the composition that I want to work on. And perhaps I was thinking about that. Again, when I came to studio, I spent a couple hours before painting to preparing myself for the painting. So I'm thinking, I'm adjusting, I'm moving, I'm doing little sketches. I'm preparing mentally. I have a list in my head of things that I want to do. I remember from the academy and from the other studios when I studied with masters, you shouldn't think about painting that I squeeze the paints on the palette and I grab a brush and my work started. That's not how it works, especially not for me. There are hours before actual act of painting that I am investing into this. Research online, going through the books over and over again, looking for my own mistakes. I have this painting upside down, left to right. I have a mirror that I'm looking at, the reflection, and I'm looking for the mistakes that I can't see because I'm biased towards the certain positions, right? And especially putting everything on the same horizontal or vertical line, only because my brain, and it's just the nature of a brain, it's trying to put everything into exact and specific, not exact and specific, into a orderly fashion. So you can see again, and I'm doing it, and I saw it, that this distance between here and here, and this distance between here and here, and this distance between here and here, I'm seeing like the almost exact repetition. So I have to create a little bit more of an interest and move things around a little bit to make it a little bit more pleasing to look at, and not because it seems whenever, and I'm looking into you might see me, I'm looking into a mirror reflection, and it's easier for me to identify when it's a mirror reflection because it pops into my eyes immediately. It's just there's no question about it. So I'm going to work on that a little bit. That's why I want to start focusing on this figure right now, because it's important for me to create the edges right here to kind of resolve this. And I want to show that this shoulder of the main figure, it's front of the figure in the background. So probably there's going to be a lot of edges there, and also tone, and on top of it, I'm going to use that idea of warm and cool. So that's probably what I'm going to work on today. But working on this has to relate to everything that's happening here. Because if you start developing this part, again, really go into details and whatnot, it might happen that the composition that we're looking at, we're going to shift the attention to this direction, right here, and then it's going to feel that it's falling away on one side. There is too much information here, and there is nothing here. Therefore, this could have been cut out completely. So I'm gonna, and that goes for all of you as well. When you're thinking about your composition, remember, whatever you're working on, and more detail I'm going to put here, the more information that I'm going to give to you, your brain is going to go here and investigate more. It's going to spend more time here. And when you look on the composition from a distance, and you can see me going back and forth all the time, when you look at your composition from a distance, it might overpower the overall feeling and overall rhythms only because it's so much information going here. I mentioned previously, I was talking about this part, how much more work I need to put here because it's too much of different elements that my brain has to understand, and it's taking my brain's attention. And I don't want you to be looking here. That's not the focal point. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I need to figure it out how to create nice and kind of that a separation between foreground and background, and between the pole, knee, clothes, another feet. It's just too much information going on there. So, yep. And I also think, I don't know why I have a feeling or what is happening. I really want to put, and it might be because it's in the, I have a little, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, there is a little part of a fabric or streak of fabric that is going this direction, and it feels and it looks like his hand, it's holding him right there. And for some reason, I want to put it there, that hand. I don't know if it's going to work, because then I'm going to have a hand on one side, hand on the other side, and it's going to kind of make him look like his hand is really long because he's standing a little bit further away. I don't know. It's just. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll see. Maybe. So. And I'm wondering what kind of, because this is another thing that I said previously, that I felt like he feels like he's really fat, and by fat I mean like his belly is sticking out, and I don't like that kind of a posture, because it seems staged to me. He looks like a poster boy. So I created some. I have some different ideas how to correct that. And I have my digital file with the folds, like, you know, the folds of how they interlock. And I didn't put that much information there, but I still feel like I have to go back and forth to see if it's really working. Because I kind of like the shape, I don't like the feeling of that shape, or actually how much protrusion. That's not even a protrusion. I didn't like how the fabric sits on that. And in order to create a little less kind of a distraction there. I'm playing in my mind with the version that I don't want to kind of push everything to this tangent to one point. So I'm trying to maybe create some differences here. And by differences, I mean separations. I want to show that one thing is sitting in front of another. Just always back and forth. And what I'm doing right now, especially when I'm backing up, I am constantly evaluating the whole painting, right? So I made the adjustment right here, the little one, really small one. And I'm asking myself, is this corner right here, where is it, what is the, when I create like a horizontal line right here, is it lining up with this foot? And if it's lining up with that foot, it might be a problem because I have a corner that it's creating right here, and then I have a corner that is exactly this way. And I'm asking the size of this versus size of this part, and it might be one evaluation of that. And I see right now that one is lower, another one is higher. And the reason is because I don't want to stop this implied line that is right here, and push this corner and kind of create implied line this direction right here, because they might change the composition. Right, so that these are really kind of a, how would I put it? It's tedious and it takes a lot of time for me, especially because it's just I'm being really honest with myself, and so should you. There is a problem in your composition. This might be one of the things that you are making, that you are not really paying attention to. And it could be something else. It could be that it's actually kind of lining up with the corner right here, and then the shoulder right here, and then I would put some, I don't know, stick right here. So I automatically create a vertical that kind of cuts out this part, and it's not important that it's there. And if it's not important that it's there, so why is it there? do I have my... Never mind, never mind. I can just write it. And again, I don't want to have here such a harsh, sharp lines because they will they're kind of sticking towards us more because there's a contrast here, and I want this one to kind of protrude a little bit more. So I need to soften these edges. And I said lines right now, but the line is showing me the one shape, because without these lines, it seems like a one shape from here to here. And if I put line, I am dividing that shape into two different shapes. And what I want to do is what I was talking about previously, and I'm always talking about, is that I want a unity and variety. I want this shape to be unifying with this shape right here, so it kind of feels that it's behind these two figures. But I also want a little bit of variety, but just a tiny bit. And the reason being, I don't want to overpower what's in front of it. So it might seem that I'm taking way too much time for that, but that's okay. I don't care. Well, I do care, but I don't. And again, I'm asking myself, do I want to have the hand in front of it or behind it? Because if it's in front of it, the fabric, so it's sitting on top of the fabric, and then behind, it might be in front of it, it might be more challenging to paint, as you might know when you have to paint hands. But it's again giving me a little bit of variety and a little bit more of a clarity. I have a one edge or one shape in front of another shape, and then I have another shape right here that is sitting in front of this shape, and maybe I want to create the variety. I want another shape, the shape that should be logically behind, because my brain is forcing me, okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything is going back. I want to create a little bit of interest right here. Same way, I created interest right here. And I want to make sure that when you look here, this is where you're going to maybe get a little bit more of attention, a little bit more of something is happening, but not to the point that it is overwhelming, but kind of it should stop you to just go with your eye. Okay, this is back, this is behind, this is behind, this is behind, and then you leave to another painting or to I don't know, another thing to do. I want to keep you in the painting. I want to keep you to exploring left and right, top to bottom, in and out. That's really, really important. Okay, couple adjustments, and I moved it a little bit lower because I felt that it was just, it looked like a skirt rather than just a fabric of dripping down. So I could create a fold right here, and then I can move this direction and then go this direction right here, because that's where the other foot, or other leg rather, should be. So I'm creating kind of a, so I'm giving a little bit of a suggestion of that there is a kind of a cylindrical shape right there, which should represent leg. And I'm thinking, and I'm asking myself all these questions while I'm doing this in my head. Do I want this to be lighter? Do I want to be darker? Do I want this to be warmer? Do I want this to be cooler? Right. So, and again, then edges and edges and edges. Should I? Maybe he should have. Should have that kind of a, what the monks use, that kind of a, just a rope that holds that part into place. It should be maybe there. And then if this is going over, that's going to be shadow here. And what do I want that shadow to represent? Do I want to show that rope, or do I want to cover it into shadow? Or maybe the fabric is folding over that and I see just a little bit right here, just a suggestion. So again, it's not that much of a interest and detail going into that, because that's not the important part. Or it's not the focal point. It is important, but it's not the focal point. This. And maybe I should make this opening a little bit, little bigger. And by bigger, I mean a little bit more towards us, because here right now, that's the other thing that that kind of, I'm looking at these figures kind of a straight ahead, or maybe a little bit like they're coming towards me. I'm standing a little higher maybe, based on their feet, but he looks like I'm standing down and looking up towards him, and I don't want to have that feeling. Maybe I should turn his head a little bit more towards us. It feels like his head, he's looking way too much towards this direction, and I want a little bit less that direction, a little bit more towards me. I have a dead end angle, or really straightforward at me, and he's looking this direction. So I have kind of a motion that's going this direction. It's that kind of idea of that, how I want you to lead, or how I want you to look at the painting, the motion. These are really, and that's another compositional thing, that usually you look the way the figures are looking, or that's, you know, we are trying to find something there. So implied line from this figure right here, he's going to look in this direction, so it's pushing you here. So when you go with your eyes, you want to go away from the painting, I have this that should stop you, and then I have a suggestion for you with his face. Oh, you should look back here. Why is he looking that direction? What's that important there? And you can see the light is changing. The sun is going. And the sun showed the idea with the sun is that right now I have a more light in the room. I see colors better, and the relation temperatures between them. It's affecting the temperatures because the direct sunlight from overcast is changed. Also, the overcast has a different temperature than the direct sunlight, or the shadow, or northern part of the light, or northern light, as they like to call it, or they like to, as we call it. So I can clearly see right now. Before, it was kind of very difficult to distinguish. This is cooler, this is warmer, this is cooler, and this is warmer again, right? So under artificial light, or in the overcast, I had really hard time to understand what's happening there, but right now I can clearly see it. And that's why I like to work with natural light. I'll put this here, and I'll move this closer. Need more space right here. Doesn't need to be that kind of a wedge. And I remember that when I was, and this is another thing why you should think about going outside and painting outside. I remember from the academy during the summer, there was a mandatory, and there was another kind of a part of a grading, or our grades, that we had that kind of a collection of paintings from life outside of the studio, with, you know, different landscapes and whatnot. And I remember my master was looking at my stuff, and he pointed out that there is a problem with everyone who paints inside that goes outside and start, I don't know, painting buildings, because it's very visible on the buildings, that as you have that roof on the building, and then you have a side, a wall of the building, these wedges between these wedges between the roof and the wall were really big, over exaggerated, because my brain wanted to compensate for that very important right angle. And he told me, man, that's a couple centimeters, couple inches. You're making it as big as a whole window. And it's the same thing with, it's the same idea with what I'm doing right now with the folds. I'm over exaggerating them. Sometimes they don't need to be over exaggerated. Sometimes they need to be a little more calm. a little more calm. I don't even know if that's a proper English sentence. Man, I cannot speak and work when outside is so hot. And it's probably time for me to stop working with charcoal because I kind of laid down what I wanted to. Maybe I should work on the feet a little bit and maybe the position of the head because it bothers me. So let me try to move him from looking this direction to looking him to this direction a little bit more, right? So that will be probably something that I want to do right now. And the reason being is that what I said, that I don't even know how to create. I have this direction right here, and I want him to turn slowly. So I want to create a kind of a curve that it's going around. First of all, it's a kind of a zigzag, so you have that, Z kind of a composition thing going on, but I wanna break even the monotony in the composition so it's not the same. So I want you to move maybe with the curve. So I don't want that composition be on the one plane, so it's everything next to each other. I want that depth. That means that I have to put the nose a little bit more to this direction, and I showed maybe an ear right here. Right, so that might be one of the things that might help that. Because right now, the fact that he's looking away kind of pushes you as a viewer to go away from the painting. And in actual large composition that I have there, I have the figure. The figure is right here in the back. That should stop you from that. But since I don't have it here, I have a natural feeling that I need to turn his head more towards me. Than away from me. I'm not sure if it's a correct way. Or maybe I could, I don't know. And this is something that I'm not that far in. And that's why this is very important to not overcommit to your portrait before you are absolutely 100, or not portrait, to any shape, unless you're absolutely 100% sure that this is the way that you want to have it. And maybe I'll give him a little tilt as well, I don't know. So he's a little bit more like this direction. And maybe I'll let his eye move, so he's looking, so his head is going this direction, but he's looking this direction. So that will kind of give you that, oh, I thought that we were going that way. No, this is the direction that we're going now. For this particular fragment, his head a little bigger. But again, if I make his head bigger, then he's going to be too small for his head. Okay, I think that I have to come with actual paint here right now. and I should probably adjust his feet as well, because right now that foot doesn't work, and that's another thing that bothers me a lot with it. And it might seem that I am procrastinating, but trust me, when I tell you that I can't really, I can't just come to studio every morning at, I don't know, 8 a.m. and start the creative process. It doesn't work that way. I am not capable of it. And if you are, then, oh my God, you won the game. Because I need a lot of time to kind of start out that creativity. And trust me, it might be a couple minutes per week. Sometimes a whole month I'm just pointlessly painting something that I will erase at the end anyway. Let me just maybe, what if I move this a little bit more this direction? So I kind of increase that diagonal, so it doesn't feel that it's going this way and then kind of lost its power. And then also show me a little bit more that of that foot. So I'm going this way, right here, and it curves. This is where my it's going to be a little bit more difficult to angle it properly, but I think it's going to help, because I don't want to have a 2 feet into kind of also in an exact position. And I think that the position of a feet, excuse me, position of a foot that I have here, I want to have here. So this needs to be a little bit more. And I know it looks weird right now, but don't worry about it. This is just a. It's only because it does not have all the features that it's supposed to have. Because there has to be the overlap, especially with these. So I'm moving the heel a little bit back rather than just extending this foot towards this direction. So this is going to be the ankle. Okay. And what if I just make it a little bit more visible so I don't have two same. That might help actually, I don't know. That might help. And then I can maybe get rid of this. And then perhaps I could just hide this one right here and just suggested it a little bit, and that's it. So it does not overpower. And maybe show it a little bit here. So it doesn't cause that much. So it doesn't draw that much attention. That's what I was trying to say. Oh my God, why am I so? Okay, so we have this, and I think for me, this is enough right now. Charcoal work. Because there are certain things that I cannot change because I have a paint there, and I mentioned this before. Some of that, let me see. Maybe that's maybe too much of an angle. Maybe not. I have to see it. I can't imagine certain things in my head and predict the behavior, but I think this might work. I think. And if I don't like it, I'll just put the tall grass here. No one's going to see his feet, right? Okay, so yeah, let's work on that area first. So I was asking myself, should I move the canvas lower so I can work on the body and whatnot? But I think that the position of and resolving the problem with the ground plane, it's right now a little bit more important than anything else. So I'll grab a different brush for this. I have you here, so So I'm thinking this would be in the shadow, and then there is the protrusion or bone rather, and I have this, and then I need a shadow right here, that's a finger. Okay. And maybe just a little bit more of this. This way. A little bit more in the back. And I'm saying out loud what I'm thinking about. And right now it's just a plain shape, a triangular shape. It doesn't really look like a foot, but it will. What do I have? Did I so I am trying to give it a little bit of a life. Big toe. Little toes. Okay. Maybe I need anatomy reference for the foot here, because I'm not sure if I can just if we can just wing it. Okay. I think I need a little bit more of a fingers here, or the going this way and then this way. So I'm changing the angles a little bit because I'm just trying to give the sense of the perspective, and I don't want to break the perspective. And I'm talking about linear perspective right now. Okay, this is what I need to adjust. This is what I need to adjust. And again, I have to be careful. I don't want to make that foot bigger than it's supposed to be. And I need the background. Ooh, that. too dark. No, it isn't. Okay. I mixed a background color because I needed to erase certain things. And I think that when it comes to proportions and direction, that's okay. And the size seems cool as well, so. Maybe adjust this a little bit. And then I'm going to adjust a shadow as well. Since I move this is all going to be in shadow. And do I even need a second? Second foot to be visible? I don't know, do I? Let me see. Let me see. I don't think it's necessary. I think I can just, and this is something that, this is probably the important part that I was talking about the composition. You are connecting, disconnecting, connecting, disconnecting, and you're making a conscious decisions about what should be included in the painting and what shouldn't. What I did not bring it. Okay, a little bit of rand. Yeah, ooh. Well, that was a mistake. Touch of red because I want to slightly desaturate it and a little bit more of a white. So I'm making it lighter and I'm trying to keep chroma. So his leg's gonna go that way, and it's just going to be in the background, which is totally fine. I'm gonna bring chroma a little bit more, right around this area. I want to have cool. And I just that kind of a artificial green that I put right here. It looks a little out of place because it's way too way too chromatic. See, like I just dabbed into the wrong paint. Not wrong paint. There's a new hue that I introduced to, or temperature of a green, very cool green. I wanted a warm green, warm transparent green. That's what I wanted. And I wanna lose the chroma with warm red as well. It's still going to register as a green, it's just not going to be as foreign to the surroundings. And you can see I'm going over the foot as well. And the reason is because I want to connect them. I want to be foot and the grass, same value, different temperature, or different hue. I don't want to have a hard edge there because, first of all, it's not the focal point. Second of all, it's not where the contrast should be. Okay, just grab a little bit of a half tone and get rid of this line right here, because I don't want to lines necessary. Where they're not supposed to be. What is going on with my camera? I don't know if what's happening. I'm sorry about that. Correcting the shape of a toe, big toe. Oops. this is the shadow shape is way too dark, but I'm gonna work on it. So again, it does not overpower this shadow mask that is right here. I want to have it there, but when you think about the value scale, right? So I was talking about value number 1 till if number 1 it's white and number 10 it's if number 1 it's not white. If number 1 it's titanium white and number 10 it's ivory black, then the most contrast, it's right here. This is the second, and this is third, right? So if I don't know, if let's say that this is number 6, this has to be 4, and this has to be 2. Why? Because of atmospheric perspective. So I placed the all right. And right now I have 2 exactly the same feet directions. So look at here, it's going that direction, this is going to be exactly the same. So I should work on this one right now a little bit more because it needs more, it needs to be addressed. Okay, I need a little bit. More of this adjustment. All right. Cool. I think right now it's I think it's working pretty well for direction. I have to change this. Otherwise it's going to bother me a lot. So with this, a little bit of the blue. should maybe keep it or leave it. Just like a part of a, just partially developed. There is grass there, and I'll focus on this part right here. T3. Yeah, maybe I can just And what I'm doing right now, I'm making this whole part a little darker, and the reason is because there's more that's happening behind there. There might be another foot. Cool, and I'm going to push this a little bit. Or should I try to move it a little higher? Let's see. I don't know. I do not know. So let's try it. Let's put the greenery there. Liner. A little bit more chroma. Well, I think this is better. And I have to create something that pushed I will push it back. So there has to be some to stop you from leaving, as I mentioned before, when you think about the composition. And as you can see, we're slowly dealing with that problem with another leg. So let's see if I completely remove it, if it's going to change anything. So leg has been removed completely, and this right now looks like what? He has a 3 legs? No. It's fine. I think it's fine. For now, I think it works because I don't overcomplicate that part, and it still work the way that I wanted to. Except, like I mentioned, right now everything pointing this direction, and it's way too much of a direction there. So something needs to stop that. In my sketch in the back, I have a road right there, so maybe I'll put the road that direction. Or the road, it's not a road, it's like a path. It's getting really hot in here. I mean, really, really hot. The sun just does not want to stop putting heat. Lost edge. I don't want to have sharp edges anywhere there. And it's going to be even more since I have to. Let's close enough. A little too warm maybe, but no worries. Let's cool it down a little bit. And what's the direction of the draper? It's going this way. So I'll have thumb right here, and then it will go over. Okay, cool. So just a little suggestion of, but right now it seems like it's way too big. Let's clean my brush. I'm cleaning my brush because I need clean color. And by clean, I'm probably, that's not really, I don't want to white into my darkest darks. And I'm not saying that this is my darkest dark, but I'm going to pick up a lot of color from the surrounding areas that, you know, I want to keep it as clean as possible. So it's going to end right here. Okay, so maybe this is the hip, this, yeah. I think this is the right position. It was a little too low, I think, before. And I was playing with that idea of moving that green all the way here. So let's see what's gonna happen if let's make it a little lighter. And this is me just having fun with the paint again. I just want to create kind of an interesting shapes. So we have a foot, we have a hand in the right position, a relatively right position, I'm not sure yet. Yeah, let's work a little bit on that drapery of his. Yep. But I'll probably have to do it another time because the sun is killing me today. It was great weather condition, but the sun really hit the studio right now. It's almost it's almost 7 p.m. So that's really when the sun shows just a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right here, right now, just to summarize what I was working on. But I don't want to say that this is a bad painting condition. This is actually great painting condition. But I have this streak of light here, and I know that I will have a hard time to work right now, because if I cover it completely, I will lose the amount of light that is in the studio, and everything's going to be darker, so I will over whiten it to see it. So I have to stop right now, but I will still continue working on this in my head, not in my head. I will continue thinking about what needs to be done, what needs to be adjusted. But yeah, it's starting to slowly come together, the way that I wanted to, so I can move forward with the background. And then when I figured out the background completely, so perhaps another stream is going to be about the hand, finishing the hand, putting a face a little bit more towards this direction. Then I put the faces right here, or suggestion of the faces, and then that will give me a clear understanding of what needs to be done in the focal point. So maybe then I'll start revisiting these parts, because since I'm putting more and more information here, this is starting to kind of seem underdeveloped. So a little bit more detail, a little bit more contrast, a little bit more temperature shifts. So yeah, I'm looking at the mirror reflection, and I'm really okay with the position of the feet and the direction. Like I mentioned, the head, and then the rest of the figures in the back, and then this hand needs to be put down as well. I'm sorry, I'm going to scrape a little bit into the canvas, or not into the canvas, into the paint, because I need, I saw there's too much paint there, and it created kind of a really thick layer, which is not a problem if you so desire. But as I mentioned, when I'm thinking about composition, I'm asking myself, is it something really thick and kind of a with like a thick texture, good to have on very far, or in depth into painting? I want to reserve that kind of a pigment application and the thickness of the paint in this area right here. So I don't want to then the hand that is all the way back, it's not important at all, compete with what's important, that's the portrait or the focal point in this case. So I hope I'll see you again in the next stream, and by that time, have a nice day and take care. Bye.